विश्वंदर्पण दृश्यमान नगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। परब्रह्मनिष्ठं स्वतो धर्मनिष्ठं अहिंसैकनिष्ठं स्वशिष्यै सुजुष्टं यतीनां वरिष्ठं गुरूणां गरिष्ठं दयानन्दरूपं मदाचार्यमीडे। नमः श्रीपरमार्थाय संसाराध्यासनाशिने श्रोत्रियब्रह्मनिष्ठाय तस्मै ब्रह्मविदे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ I welcome you all to the 12th class of the Fundamentals of Vedanta series. Is my video clearly visible? Is it the biggest video on the screen for everybody?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Both video, audio, both are clear.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to start today's class with Navavarshasya Shubhashayaha. Wish you all a very happy new year. And it is wonderful that we are starting off this new year with Vedanta Vichara. It is said that we should start off the new year on an auspicious note. And what our Shastras say is there is nothing more auspicious than Vedanta Vichara. Why? Because it eliminates all that is inauspicious. What is inauspicious? Ajnanam, Apurnatvam, and Sansara. So the Vedanta Vichara strikes at the root cause of all inauspiciousness. It strikes at the very Ajnanam. And that is why this is said to be the most auspicious. The Advaita Darshanam, Advaita Drishtihi. The Mandukya Upanishad says, Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyaha. Shantam Shivam Advaitam. Advaitam is said to be Shivam. Shivam meaning the most auspicious. So on this note, we will start today's class. We were discussing the question of how an adhikari becomes an adhikari. And as a part of that, we said we need to answer 3 questions. how an adhikari becomes a mumukshuhu, how an adhikari becomes a jignasuhu, and how an adhikari gains these qualifications, preparedness of the mind. We answered the first question about how the adhikari becomes a mumukshuhu. The adhikari becomes a mumukshuhu by discovering the problem of samsara. We said that the discovery of the problem of samsara is the discovery that the struggle to gain purnatvam out of the first three purusharthas is never ending. And we said it starts off with this conclusion I have that I am apurnaha and I cannot live with my apurnatvam, and therefore I am always striving to remove my apurnatvam because I cannot live with it. I don't feel comfortable with it, and therefore I end up in a pursuit of arthaha, kamaha, and for the sake of future arthaha and kamaha, I end up pursuing dharmaha. But none of these pursuits really lead me to the purnatvam. This discovery is the discovery of the problem of samsara. This person feels like I have been running on a treadmill. I am in a never-ending race. And therefore, the person who leads this life of karma yoga, as we said, who does the duties, who does Ishwararpana buddhi, and who accepts the results with prasada buddhi, such a person neutralizes the raga dveshas. And when the neutralization of the raga dveshas happen, the likes and dislikes, the strong likes and dislikes get neutralized. At that point, the mind becomes a non-reacting mind. The mind becomes a learning mind. And therefore, this person learns from life's experiences and hence begins to see that the pursuit of the three purusharthas has these three defects: dukkha mishritatvam, atriptikaratvam, and bandhakatvam. Their pursuit is intermixed with sorrow. They leave me apurnaha, and they leave me more and more dependent on things. And then this person begins to question, what else is there? What else is there for me that can give me this purnatvam? And at that point, the Veda Purva says that I have given you what I can give you. By bringing you to this point where you're asking this question, that means I have done my job well. And in order to get the answer to your question, is there something that can give me this purnatvam? You need to approach Vedanta. So we said that this person is told, Parikshya lokan karmachitan brahmanah nirvedamayat nasti akritakritena tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtam. So this person is asked to approach a guru, a shrotriya brahmanishtha guru. So this person has now become a mumukshuhu. This is how one becomes a mumukshuhu. We said that the mumukshutvam is not a black and white thing. The mumukshutvam is not a 0 or 1 thing. We said this entire spectrum, mumukshutvam is a spectrum in which one grows. From being a manda mumukshuhu in the beginning, where moksha gets introduced as one of my several desires and probably at the bottom of my list. But slowly, as one devotes time and energy and commitment to this pursuit, then this desire for moksha starts to bubble up. And as this desire for moksha starts to bubble up, we said that the other desires that are below it, they begin to fall off. But he's still a manda mumukshuhu if there are desires above the desire for moksha. When the desire for moksha bubbles up to be the number one desire, but there are other desires below it, this person becomes a madhyama mumukshuhu, a medium mumukshuhu. But then, as we said, the moksha desire is a cannibal desire. It tends to eat up the other desires. At some point, this person becomes a tivra mumukshu, where moksha desire is the only desire. But then one thing to note is that everybody who comes to Vedanta is not a tivra mumukshu. There are manda mumukshus, madhyama mumukshus, and tivra mumukshus who come to Vedanta. And the study helps everybody. As the study proceeds, one also begins to transition from being a manda mumukshu to a madhyama mumukshu. So it is not necessary, in fact, for one to be a tivra mumukshu, even in order for the jnanam to arise. Because we say that every qualification doesn't have to be in perfect measure for the jnanam to arise. The jnanam can arise even when the qualifications are not 100%, but even 75-80% perhaps. So we need not convert this into some idealistic situation saying, hey, I'm not a tivra mumukshu, so perhaps Vedanta is not for me. We don't have to feel like that. That is why I'm discussing this point. So no matter what our qualifications, at whatever level our qualifications are, this is the path on which we want to proceed. And therefore, we can commence with the Vedanta study. But in order for the jnanam to arise, the qualifications need to be above some critical threshold. Only then the jnanam arises and the jnana phalam, which is moksha, that is seen. So the next point we discussed was that once one begins to enter the spectrum, and one has this dispassion for the other things, one starts to develop dispassion for the other pursuits. So at this point, not everybody has the clarity. Gurumeva abhikachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtham. This teaching is not there. Like we said, most of us are products of the Western educational system. Our educational system was approved it about 200 years ago. So then there is a lot of exploration and pursuit that happens. People can tend to, explore and try different things. Somebody may say, there is this thing, this type of meditation that somebody is teaching. Perhaps I need to do that, and that will give me the fulfillment that I want. Like we said, somebody may get into Western philosophy. Somebody else may get into Zen. So there is all of this exploration that goes on when then the clarity is not there. Like we said some time back, Pujya Swamiji also says this, that the clearer one is, the greater one's clarity, the choices become lesser and lesser. Only when the clarity is not there, there appear to be many choices for solving a particular problem. When a problem has not been diagnosed properly, there may be many solutions that are up for trial. In fact, that is why a doctor says when you first time go to a doctor, it may be this, it may be this, it may be this, it may be this. I don't know what it is. We have to do a bunch of tests to figure out what the problem is. Because as one gets clarity, the choices become lesser. And that is what is going on here also. As long as one is not clear about what the problem is, what is causing my present situation, why am I feeling apurnaha, why am I struggling in this world, unless the answers to those questions are clear in terms of diagnosis of the problem, then the solution also will not be clear. And that is why we see that a lot of people are struggling in various ways, trying to pursue various things in order to gain the purnatvam, even after the arising of the dispassion. So what the dispassion does is one is no longer interested in materialism because one sees that it is not leading me to the goal. But then what will lead me to my goal is not clear. And therefore, there can be now another struggle in the spiritual field. And that is why we say that all of this discussion and all of this background that we are talking about is extremely important. In order to know what am I dealing with and how do I hit the problem at its root. So that is why we say that once one has come to this point, one should listen to what Vedanta has to say. One should listen to the perspective that Vedanta offers on this. And then make up one's mind about what one wants to do. So the correct diagnosis of the root cause is extremely essential. And as we have seen, in any domain this is true, whether it be medicine or engineering, whatever it is. Even in law, right? Even in law enforcement, until the right criminal is caught, the crime will keep happening. Sometimes people catch the wrong person and put him in jail. But then they see, hey, those burglaries that were going on are still happening with exactly the same traces, the same kind of modus operandi is behind the burglary. Then somebody says, we have not caught the right criminal. As we saw the medical example of one of the people I said, somebody I knew went through this. Person was feeling tired. The person went to the first doctor. The first doctor told him that you're feeling tired because you are anemic. So I'll give you iron supplements. He took those supplements, and while he was taking those supplements, he was feeling better. But then as he stopped those supplements, the problem happened again. The right criminal was not caught. And then the person went to a second doctor. The second doctor did a deeper investigation and found out that the problem was bleeding in the bowels. And then when that problem was fixed, the person felt healthy. He didn't need those supplements anymore. So until one diagnoses the right problem, the struggle continues. Even in the spiritual field, the struggle will continue. So if I am trying to repeatedly solve a problem and it is not having the desired effect, that should raise a red flag that I have not diagnosed the root cause of the problem. So as we said, this person comes to Vedanta and asks, how do I attain Purnatvam? What do I do to attain Purnatvam? And Vedanta says, you are asking the wrong question. This Purnatvam cannot be attained by doing. And he says, can it be attained by not doing? Vedanta says, no, cannot be attained by not doing. In fact, it cannot be attained at all. And this is where we said that Vedanta drops this bombshell. A very unexpected statement, declaration by Vedanta, that you need not attain this Purnatvam because it is your very nature. So it takes a while to even digest this. What does it mean? See, for this Purnatvam to be my nature, because my experience is totally contrary to it. So it almost seems bordering on the ridiculous, if you think about it. How can me, this mere jiva, this speck in this universe, be Purna? So this is the declaration that Vedanta makes. And it throws a challenge at us that you have to discover this Purnatva. So Vedanta brings up this example that we saw of the 10th man searching for the 10th man. The 10th man was already the 10th man he was looking for. But because he was ignorant of his status as the 10th man, he thought that the 10th man was missing. In fact, he was looking for himself. But he thought that the 10th man was missing and he embarked on a search for the 10th man. And all of those people were looking for the 10th man when they themselves were the 10th man they were looking for. So now imagine what would have happened if the 10th man had not met this passerby. If the passerby had not told him that you are the 10th man you're looking for, this 10th man's orientation was totally in the wrong direction. He would have continued the search for the 10th man. Perhaps he would have given an SOS call to nearby villages and called some additional villagers and said, join my search party, the 10th man is missing. And interestingly, there was a newspaper article a few years ago that somewhere in Hungary or something, the same thing happened. That there was some tourists who went in a bus, and there was one of the passengers who was wearing some particular dress, perhaps a dress of a certain color or something. And people had identified us, and he had somehow changed that dress midway somewhere. And suddenly somebody thought that man with that colored jacket is missing. So let us go on a search of this person. And interestingly, this person also joined the search. And finally, after they searched for a while, this person realized, hey, the person you all are looking for, that was me. I was wearing that other jacket. Now I just changed my dress. So it is interesting that the story actually appeared in some newspaper about a few years ago. And this was discussed a long time ago in our Shastras. So now this person, as we said, might have tried to expand the search party. He might try to search underwater, right? Looking for the 10th man. Or, after he gets exhausted, for a while he might try to even meditate or go to sleep. Or perhaps in the middle of the search, some people may play a game. All of this makes him get some relief from the problem. They're like palliatives. They don't solve the problem. Because as soon as he comes out of his meditation, or as soon as this person wakes up from the sleep, or when the game ends, what does he feel? The 10th man is missing. And he cannot rest at peace with the fact that the 10th man is missing. He has to do something about it, because he has given the word to his guru that I will take care of all of my fellow classmates. So this person would have continued his search. We say this Jiva search for Purnatvam is exactly like this. So this person, this Jiva, has not diagnosed the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is that the Jiva is already Purnaha. The Jiva already, Purnatvam is the Jiva's nature. But the Jiva is ignorant of his Purnatvam nature. And as a result, the Jiva takes himself to be Apurnaha. He says the Purnatvam is missing. He takes himself to be Apurnaha and then embarks on a search for this Purnatvam. And this idea that I am Apurnaha is reinforced by everybody around him. Just like the 10th man is missing, the idea that the 10th man was missing, everybody agreed. And therefore they went on this search. So similarly, the fact that I am Apurnaha is reinforced by all the Apurna people around him. And that is why we say that a Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru has to come. Only this Guru who knows that I am Purnaha, the Guru knows I am Purnaha, can teach this person that you are Purnaha. That Purnatvam is your nature. So basically this Jiva goes on his search for Purnatvam, and what does he do? He gets into this Artha, Kama and Dharma pursuit, thinking that it's going to give me the Purnatvam. But like we said, all of those, they give a certain sense of fulfillment, but nothing is lasting. They are like palliatives. So this jiva gets into this fruitless pursuit and doesn't know how to get out of it. Because that's the only way the jiva thinks I can get some fulfillment. So we say, without Vedanta, this jiva cannot diagnose the root cause of the problem. So Vidyaranya Munihi. We talked about Vidyaranya Munihi some time back. He was one of the great acharyas of the Advaita tradition. And he was also the Mathadipatihi of Sringeri Matha at one point. I forget the dates, but several hundred years ago. And his contributions to the teaching of Vedanta are immense. And Vidyaranya Munihi takes a lot of doubts and clarifies them, provides immense clarification and direction on the pursuit. And there is this work of Vidyaranya Munihi called Panchadashi. Panchadashi meaning 15, the one with 15 chapters. So it's a work with 15 chapters, in which Vidyaranya Munihi analyzes and teaches a lot of the ideas, concepts, background, everything, the comprehensive work. So in the 7th chapter, there is a discussion of this problem, this 10th man's awakening. And I sent this 33rd verse of the 7th chapter of Panchadashi by WhatsApp. So any of you who want to follow it, you can look at it as I speak about it. So there, Vidyaranya takes these 10th man and the jiva. It says there are 7 stages in this entire pursuit. 7 stages. So the verse reads like this. Ajnanam avritis tadvat vikshepascha parokshadhihi aparokshamatihi shoka mokshas-triptir nirankusha. Ajnanam avritis tadvat vikshepascha parokshadhihi aparokshamatihi shoka mokshas-triptir nirankusha. So here, Vidyaranya is discussing 7 stages. What are those 7 stages? The first stage is Ajnanam, ignorance. The second is Avriti, Avritihi. Avritihi means a certain covering. Something, because of the ignorance, there's a certain covering of fact. Tadvad vikshepascha parokshadhihi. Vikshepaha is the 3rd stage. Vikshepaha means a projection of something which is not the fact. Vikshepaha. The 4th stage is parokshadhihi. So we'll discuss these first 3 stages, and come to the 4th stage, which is indirect knowledge. So I'll just cover those briefly and then we'll come to it. Parokshadhihi means indirect knowledge. So after this vikshepaha, the 3rd stage, there's a lot of struggle and finally a discovery that this is not leading me anywhere. And then the 4th stage is parokshadhihi. It's the rise of indirect knowledge. The 5th stage is aparokshamatihi, direct knowledge. And then the 6th is shoka moksha. Shoka moksha, freedom from sorrow as a result of the direct knowledge. And triptihi nirankusha, unrestrained, unconstrained, unconditional fulfillment. That is the 7th stage. which is what we have been calling Purnatvam. So if we take these, in case of the 10th man, Ajnanam is the first stage. The 10th man is not aware of his own 10th man status. There is this Ajnanam. The second stage is Avritihi. So this is where a covering of the 10th man, his own 10th man status happens. Ignorance by itself, it is unmanifest. The ignorance is there, but ignorance by itself doesn't cause the visible troubles, right? The way ignorance causes troubles is it hides what the fact is. So the fact that I am the 10th man is hidden due to his ignorance. So Ajnanam is followed by Avritihi, this hiding, this concealment. What is the third stage? Projection. Projection, the idea that the 10th man is missing and has to be searched for. Vikshepa. So then this person feels 10th man is not there. I have to now search for the 10th man. And he embarks on the search. So the entire struggle is Vikshepa. Now the struggle is fruitless. This person is looking in the wrong place. The struggle can never conclude. So eventually he struggles and he finds he's not able to find him. And then when he meets the passerby tells him the 10th man is amidst us. So when he hears these words, this is indirect knowledge. He has some shraddha, as we said. He gives some benefit of doubt to these words of the passerby because this passerby seems like a respectable person. The passerby has nothing to gain from all this. So, and he has nothing to lose by listening to what the passerby says because he has tried everything else. So when the passerby says the 10th man is amidst us, he says that, even though I am not able to see him still, because he asks where, even though I am not able to see the 10th man, I am willing to give some credence to this person's words. So this is parokshadhi. Parokshadhi means indirect knowledge. And then comes the fourth stage where the passerby says, by making them stand in a line, and then makes him count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And he asks, where is the 10th man? And the passerby tells, you are the 10th man, you have forgotten to count yourself. So at this point, there is a knowledge that arises in the person's mind that I am the 10th man. So this is direct knowledge. The earlier knowledge that the 10th man is there was indirect knowledge. It still did not remove his samsara. He still felt the 10th man is missing and he was asking where. But this, you are the 10th man statement, an understanding of it removed his problem. That is why it is direct knowledge. Aparokshamatihi. And then comes the 6th and 7th stage, the cessation of all sorrow. His sorrow disappears. And there is this attainment of happiness. Triptihi nirankusha. So similarly, these 7 stages apply to the jivaha also. The jivaha is ignorant. Ignorant of what? Ajnanam is there. Ignorant of what? Ignorant of his own purnatvam status. And then therefore there is this second stage, avritihi. There is this covering. Covering of what? Covering of the fact that I am purna. This fact is covered. And therefore he feels this purnatvam is missing. And then comes the third stage, Vikshepaha. He says, I am Apurnaha. I am incomplete. This is Vikshepaha. And I have to do something in order to solve this problem. This is Vikshepaha. And he commences on this search for Purnatvam in the field of Arthaha, Kamaha and Dharma. This is Vikshepaha. And finally he struggles and struggles, trying to look for this Purnatvam. Until this person gains some maturity. That perhaps I'm looking in the wrong place, I'm not finding it. Is there a way? When he asks it, Upanishad says, Guru meva abhigachet. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. When the Shrotriya Brahmanishtha Guru comes, he is like this passerby. What does the Guru tell him first? That this Purnatvam is there. That this Brahman, this Purna Paramatma is there. That this Purnam Brahma is there. This ultimate reality is there, which is Purna. And if you know that, then your troubles will go, your samsara will go. So all of this Brahma Asti. Brahma Asti. Brahman is there. This is Parokshadhi. Indirect knowledge. Now what happens next? That this Shishya embarks on a study of Vedanta. He still has got this Parokshadhi. In fact, this Parokshadhi also comes from the study of Vedanta only. But for a while he only has this Parokshadhi. Paroksha Jnanam. Still his problem is not solved. But then as he proceeds the study, when he is ready, then the Guru tells him, Tattvamasi. This is a Mahavakya. The Guru tells him the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. That Brahman that you have been looking for, you are that Brahman. You are that Purna Brahma. You are Purnaha. You are one with that Purna Paramatma. This we said is the subject matter of Vedanta. If you go to our initial classes, we said Vishayaha. What is the Vishayaha of Vedanta? Atma Brahma Aikyam. Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam is the subject matter of Vedanta. So when the Guru teaches him this subject matter, and when this person sees that this Brahman, Purna Brahma, this Purnatvam that I was looking for is myself, that is called Aparoksha Jnana. Direct knowledge. And with that direct knowledge, the problem of samsara goes. Why? Because he has discovered this Purnatvam independently, and therefore he doesn't say I am Apurnaha anymore. When he doesn't say I am Apurnaha, there is no need to search for Purnatvam. An entire struggle goes. The cessation of all sorrow and attainment of limitless fulfillment, Triptihi Nirankusha, this is Purnatvam. So these 7 stages exist in case of the Jivaha also. So now let us get a little more deeper into how this ignorance causes this problem of samsara. Like we have said, we have to understand a problem deeply for us to know what is their diagnosis. Only then the solution will be clear. As this shloka says, Ajnanam avritihi vikshepaha. Ignorance leads to covering, covering leads to this projection. So ignorance leads to vikshepaha through avritihi, through this covering. Another name for vikshepaha is adhyasaha. Adhyasaha is another name, it is superimposition. Vikshepaha is more technically projection. Here it is adhyasaha is superimposition. So that is an effect of ignorance. So what does this superimposition mean? Let us study that a little bit. So consider this scenario that there is a rope that is lying on the road. On the side of it's not a a well-formed road. It is more like some pathway in some foresty area kind of a thing. So there is a rope that is lying on the side. Now what happens is that a person crosses this walks on this path in total darkness at night. This person doesn't even see the rope. He has no problem. He just keeps going. So he doesn't even see the rope. Now, next day morning, another person walks on the road, or it may be the same person also. He walks on the road in total light at noon when the sunlight is there and illumining the rope completely. Then he sees, hey, it's a rope. Again, no problem. Well, he sees the rope as a rope. But now consider this situation at twilight. When, let's take another person, because this person has already seen the rope, so he cannot mistake it for anything else if he goes in the twilight. So let's take the example of another person who is walking there in twilight. And now this person sees something. He sees it is long and curved. But it's twilight, so it is not illumined properly. So he has some general knowledge of the thing, but he doesn't have the specific knowledge of the thing. So he sees that there is something long and curved. It's called Samanya Jnanam. Samanya Jnanam is there. But then this person doesn't see what it is really. He doesn't have the Vishesha Jnana. So when Samanya Jnanam is there and Vishesha Jnanam is not there, we say that this is the condition in which adhyasa, superimposition, can happen. So he mistakes it for something else. This is a phenomenon that is widespread. Everywhere we can see it. If something is not seen for what it is invariably mistaken to be something else. Across the board, whatever field you take, if you don't understand something exactly what it is, you will invariably mistake it to be something else. This is what happens in this person's case. He mistakes it for a snake because he just heard some stories the previous day. That there are there is an increase in the snake population, and so he mistakes it for a snake. So he has Samanya Jnanam, but Vishesha Jnanam is not there. That is the condition. See, earlier, when the person walked in total darkness, neither Samanya Jnanam was there, nor Vishesha Jnanam was there. There was no Jnanam of that thing at all. So there was no possibility of superimposition. The next day, in broad daylight, when this person walked across, the Samanya Jnana was there, there is something, but the Vishesha Jnana was also there, that this is undoubtedly a rope. And therefore, there was no confusion. But then in twilight, just the Samanya Jnanam is there, there is something, but the Vishesha Jnanam is missing what it is exactly. And that is where this confusion arises, and therefore he takes it to be a snake. And now what happens? Ajnanam leads to adhyasaha because of the covering. Leads to adhyasaha. And this adhyasaha leads to karma now. Because this person mistakes it, now he has to do something about it. So he starts to either run away from it, saying, oh, snake, snake, snake. He runs away and tries to alert the other people. And now as soon as he goes there, then a few people also join him and they say, there's a snake, there's a snake. And now they bring sticks and start to hit this thing. All futile karma. That is why we say that action cannot remove this. Karma cannot solve this problem, because the problem is ajnanam and karma is born out of ajnanam. This action here, this beating this thing or running away from it or running towards it and beating it, all of this are products of ajnanam. They are not inimical to the ajnanam. And that is why this type of karma cannot destroy the ajnanam. In fact, it only reinforces the ajnanam. It's an amplification of the ajnanam. So this is exactly how samsara happens. See, the human being is a self-aware being. I am self-aware. I have a sense of I, that I am. See, this sense is there. Everybody will say, I am, I exist. Nobody has any doubt about it. I am, I exist. You ask any human being, do you exist? Are you there? He'll say, I am there, I am. Nobody will say, I am not there. But then the fact that this human being has got this sense of self and also an advanced intellect, this leads to a problem. See, animals don't have this keen sense of self-awareness, we say. If there is a dog show, for example, so in the dog show, the dog just doesn't show up by itself saying, I want to participate in the show. The dog is accompanied by the owner. So both the owner and the dog go to the show, dog show, and there's a competition about which is the best dog in the show, etc. So now this owner has high hopes that his dog will win the show, right? Because he has been grooming the dog really well. But then he goes there is fierce competition even in the dog show. So there are other better looking dogs, you see, better breeds and so on. So now this person participates with his dog in the show, and finally the winners are declared. And the winners are declared, there's some dog that wins the third prize and the second prize and first prize and so on. So these dogs are made to sit on this podium, right? First prize is the highest, second is the second highest, and third. And what is that dog doing? Sitting on the podium. It's basically, it's looking this way, that way. It has no idea what has happened. It has no idea I have won the first prize. Or there are the loser dogs. What are they doing? They're doing the same thing. Like basically, they have no idea that somebody has won, somebody has lost. So the dog doesn't have any complex. But the owner of the dog, even though he got the third prize, he's still disappointed that my dog got only the third prize. So this human being is the one who has such a potential for a complex. The animals don't. Similarly, a cow with horns that are twisted, it has no complex that my horns are not as good as my neighboring cow. Just goes about life. So this human being has this samanya jnanam that I am. But this human being doesn't have the crucial vishesha jnanam of who I am. Ideal condition for a superimposition. So this human being doesn't know I am this Purna Atma, I am the Purna Brahman. Doesn't have that knowledge. But he knows I am. Therefore, there is Vikshepaha, there is Adhyasa. What happens is that the body, mind, they have these attributes. The body has this attribute of being limited. The mind is limited, the body is limited. There's this idea that I was born on such and such a day. The body was born on such and such a day. And the body will die sometime in the future. The body is mortal. So all of these attributes of the body, he superimposes on himself. Because the Vishesha Jnanam is not there of who I am. And therefore, this body is in the vicinity of who I am. And therefore, the attributes of the body, the mortality of the body, the height of the body, the darkness or lightness of the color of the body, all of that are superimposed on the I. So this big person begins to say, I am 6 feet tall, or I am 4 feet 5 inches tall. I am dark, or I am fair. This person says, even the attributes of the mind. I am sad. I am happy. I am angry. I am suffering. All of these attributes of the body and mind start to get superimposed on the I. So in our example, we took the rope and the snake. When the rope was not seen as a rope, there was superimposition of the snake that happened on the rope. When this I is not seen for what this I truly is, there is superimposition of all these other things on the I. So then this person says, I am Apurnaha. This is also a superimposition. I am Apurnaha. And then we said, this is the axiom of samsara. This is the starting point of samsara. So because now I am Apurnaha, I am not comfortable with this, I am not acceptable to myself. Being Apurnaha, I cannot accept myself. And when I cannot accept myself, I have to do something to make myself acceptable to myself. Therefore, I get into this pursuit of artha, kama, and dharma. And then the struggle follows. All of these actions in the field of artha, in the field of kama, in the field of dharma, I get into karma, thinking that karma is going to solve my problem. Like we said, this karma is a product of the ignorance. It is not inimical to the ignorance. So then, what happens is whatever is accomplished in the field of artha, kama, and dharma, it is like embellishing this idea of limited self that I have. It leaves the sense of apurnatvam untouched. All of these don't remove my sense of apurnatvam. Just think of this example. Let us say there is a broomstick. And now we are decorating this broomstick with ornaments. I don't know why somebody would want to do that. It's a very strange example, but Pujya Swamiji gives this example, which is actually quite spot on for this situation. So somebody gets into this business of decorating the broomstick. It is highly ridiculous. That's exactly what is going on here. Because the decoration of the broomstick doesn't change the broomstick. The broomstick remains a broomstick. Or we say that putting a lipstick on a pig. This is a Western idiom. Idea of putting a lipstick on a pig. No matter how much you do alankaram for the pig remains a pig. So here now, this broomstick, you put a necklace on it, you put earrings around the broomstick, right? What is it? Finally, it's a highly decorated broomstick. The broomstick doesn't change its nature. So now what happens here, I am limited in my own flawed vision, I'm limited. And that vision does not change in spite of all these accomplishments. Now I have a lot of artha, I have a lot of kama accomplishments. perhaps even dharma accomplishments. But what are these doing? These are decorating the broomstick. What is the broomstick? The idea that I am this limited, miserable being that is not going away. So I continue to be a limited being in my own vision. I continue to be not acceptable to myself in my own vision. In spite of all these accomplishments, I remain this wanted, limiting, lacking being. Therefore, the samsara does not end. It continues. This is how the ignorance leads to samsara. Ignorance leads to adhyasaha, covering. First, a covering of the fact that I am purnaha. This fact is covered. That leads to adhyasaha, the superimposition upon myself, the being that I am, I don't know. But on that, I am superimposing this limited being. By borrowing these attributes from this body, mind, etc., I am superimposing them on myself. I am saying I am a apurnaha now. I become apurnaha. And then that leads to this pursuit of purnatva. So Pujya Swamiji says something with minimal words, but that basically summarizes this problem. He says, what you lack is not the problem. That you lack is the problem. If I take the problem to be, what do I lack and what do I need to do about it? Then I go on this completely wrong track. I get entrapped in this pursuit of artha, kama, and dharma. And that can never fructify to lead me to the purnatva. So if I define the problem as what I lack and I try to solve it, that is solving the wrong problem. Pujya Swamiji points out that you lack is the problem. That you lack at all. You are really purnaha, you lack nothing, but you have somehow taken yourself to be lacking. That is the problem to be solved. So if you recall, we had started off with this I want to be fulfilled statement. And we said we have ignored the left-hand side of this I. I have taken the I to be apurnaha and I'm focusing on I want to be fulfilled. I'm focusing on the wrong problem. That is why I cannot solve the problem. What I should instead be focusing on is this left-hand side. Am I apurnaha at all? I should be questioning that assumption. And this is where Vedanta helps me. I need to know that I am purnaha through the words of Vedanta. So there is this question that comes up. Well, can this ignorance go by itself? Can ignorance go by itself? See, when I am born, every person who's born is born with two ignorances. If I may use that word, ignorances. Two ignorances. One is ignorance of the world. Ignorance of the world. This we all now know about. Everybody is born with it. And then the other thing is ignorance of who I am. We are born with these two types of ignorance. What happens is as one grows, even as one is a baby, perhaps 3-4 months old or 6 months old, then one is first given this taste at the Annaprashanam. One is given this foods to taste. At that point, one starts to drop the ignorance of what certain foods taste like. Similarly, the mother shows and tells this is the apple seed, it is red in color. So one drops the ignorance of apple color. One drops the ignorance of dal taste. And similarly, one smells this agarbatti, incense, and one drops the ignorance of what incense smells like. So taste, form, smell, right? And then basically hearing. One hears music, and then if one begins to learn music, one says, okay, this is sa, this is the saptaswaras and all that. So through our sense organs, we drop the ignorance of the world. Seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. This is what a fabric feels like. This is what cotton feels like. This is what silk feels like. As one grows, one drops the ignorance of the world through the sense organs. And as one goes to school, one drops mathematics ignorance, one drops physics ignorance, one drops chemistry ignorance. And then one goes to college, university, perhaps one studies advanced topics like quantum mechanics, relativity. One drops quantum mechanics ignorance, relativity ignorance. And after that, one may do further research on that. Research in advanced medicine or research in quantum physics. In all of this, what is one doing? One is dropping ignorance of the world. But then as all of this is going on, one doesn't drop one ignorance. Doesn't get dropped. Which is ignorance of who I am. So even though one goes through all of this educational system, one may say, I have got now B Tech, I now have MS, I now have a PhD. All that means is one dropped the ignorance of the world to a certain extent. Then one continues to remain self-ignorant. It's a very interesting phenomena that we take even the greatest scientists, Albert Einstein or Stephen Hawking, whoever you take, Heisenberg, they are towering intellects in the field of modern science. But if you look at their lives, that did not remove their sense of apurnatva. They remained apurna. They did not drop the ignorance of the self. So even the greatest scientists, the greatest of intellects in various fields, they continue to remain self-ignorant. It doesn't go by itself. And that is why we say that this too needs a certain spiritual education. There is knowledge that is required in order to destroy this ignorance. And we said action, any amount of action one does, action is not inimical to this because action is a product of this. Action cannot destroy knowledge, this ignorance. And similarly, the pursuit of all these other fields of knowledge also cannot destroy this ignorance. It persists. Therefore, samsara also persists. The samsara is a product of this ignorance. We say nothing else other than Atma Jnanam can destroy this ignorance. And that is why the Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, it has a cheeky verse in there. It says, Yada charmavad akasham veshtayishyanti manavaha tada devam avijnaya dukkhasyanto bhavishyati. What does it say? Yada charmavad akasham veshtayishyanti manavaha. The day the human beings, they can fold up the sky. They can fold up sky like a carpet. That day, tada devam avijnaya dukkhasyanto bhavishyati. That day you will be able to end sorrow devam avijnaya without knowing this deva. Here deva refers to Brahman, Atma. So it says without, I can give you one condition in which you can destroy samsara, you can destroy all your suffering, dukkhasyanto bhavishyati. There is one condition in which suffering can end, this samsara can end. There's only one condition: the day somebody can fold up space like a carpet. So what is it effectively saying? Effectively, it is saying that there is no end to samsara without Atma Jnanam. The Mandukya Upanishad says, Sa Atma Sa Vijñeyaha. This Atma has to be known. Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Chandogya Upanishad says, the knower of Atma is the one who transcends this sorrow. Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma Natu Vastupalabhyate. Vastu Siddhir Vicharena Na Kinchit Karma Koti Bhihi. Says Viveka Chudaman. Karma can give you chitta shuddhi, actions. The karma when done properly, can give you chitta shuddhi. Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu palabhyate. But this vastu, this atma, brahman, this moksha cannot be obtained through karma. Vastu siddhir vicharena na kinchit karma koti bhihi. Even though you do crores of karma, cannot lead you. It is only through vichara, vastu siddhir vicharena. This atma vichara can only lead to this moksha, this jnanam and moksha. Therefore, we say that a seeker of moksha, this mumukshuhu, has to mandatorily become a jigyasuhu, a seeker of knowledge, for the seeking to fructify. As we said, if this seeker of moksha doesn't channelize this mumukshutvam to become a seeker of knowledge, then the seeker of moksha can get into this spiritual samsara, where one is searching for this, searching for that in the spiritual field. See, the person may think that I have to get some certain spiritual experience, and when I have that spiritual experience, at that point I'll be free, I'll be liberated. What we say is one can never gain moksha really. Moksha cannot be really gained, just as the 10th man was never really gained. The 10th man was only gained as though gained. So one can only as though gain this moksha, because the moksha is already accomplished. It has to be seen as being accomplished. So we say any kind of moksha that is gained will also be lost. The moksha that is only as though gained through a recognition that moksha is my nature, only that moksha is the everlasting moksha. Because it was never gained, it was already there, it will always be there. And therefore, we say that this mumukshu has to mandatorily become a jigyasuhu, a seeker of knowledge. And when one goes through this vicharaha properly, one becomes a jigyasuhu, a seeker of knowledge. So with this, we have also answered the second question of why and how one becomes a jigyasuhu. Why one should become a jigyasuhu and how one becomes a jigyasuhu. With this, I'll conclude today. And then I'll give a preview, just a brief preview of what the next topic is, because it is a bit related to this jigyasu topic. One has to become a seeker of knowledge, but then one needs clarity about the indispensable connection between between the study of Vedanta and the rise of this knowledge. One has to clearly see the indispensable connection about why Vedanta is the source of this knowledge. So that is the next question. Oh, okay, I am now become a seeker of knowledge, but then from what source do I gain this knowledge? That is the next question we'll be getting into. With this, I conclude today. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So I took some extra time just in order to finish this topic. We still have some time for a few questions or comments.
Namaste, Lakshmi. Sorry, Lakshmi. I'm just trying to see in this whole today's class, the Chitta Shuddhi is not coming into picture. At least, I mean, it's not apparent. Not. I'm trying to understand where is that fitting into this puzzle, especially the 7 steps.
Right. See, that's if you look at the 10th man as example specifically, then initially the 10th man was wailing and crying, right? So the first step the guru does is calm him down a bit. Because if this teaching is given to this wailing and crying person, he will not get it. Right? So the first step is to calm him down a bit. He has to attain a relative sanity of mind in order for the teaching to be delivered. Therefore, the first thing that this passerby does is calm down, right? I can help you here. And that is what that is the equivalent of the Chitta Shuddhi, you can say, in the 10th man's example. In case of the Jivaha, what we discussed again is that if the mind has got these strong raga dveshas, then the teaching will not work. Because this person is too preoccupied, too extroverted, right? Always engaged with something in the world. You go and tell these people that Vedanta says this, oh, okay, he'll say, I have better things to do. So he will not listen. And that is why the Karma Yoga stage that we talked about is the one that is required in order to bring about a certain samatvam. The strong ragas and dveshas, they have to be first neutralized through Karma Yoga. And that is why when the guru sees that a particular student, for example, is still somewhat preoccupied, the guru may ask that person to engage more in Karma Yoga in order to bring about a certain samatva. And then once that happens, the Chitta Shuddhi comes, one begins to see more clearly the limitations of the pursuits of the first 3 Purusharthas. One becomes a more Manda Mumukshuhu to a Madhyama Mumukshuhu to a Tibra Mumukshuhu. All of that happens.
Sir, Namaskaram, Vishwanathan.
Yes, Vishwanathan.
In this class, what we learned today, there is no end to samsara without Atma Jnana, correct?
Exactly.
Now, to gain Atma Jnanam, the first step is Atma Vichara. Correct. So now, Atma Vicharam is nothing but closing your eyes and looking for what I am. Is it the process to begin with the individual Jignasuhu, or again you need a guru's guidance to initiate the Atma Vichara? These are the 2 perplexed questions on my mind in today's class outcome.
We have to connect this to the first few classes. We said, what is the Vishayaha of the study of Vedanta? The Vishayaha of the study of Vedanta is this Atma, it is Brahman, it is Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam. So Atma Vicharaha is nothing but Vedanta Vicharaha. This is where the Jigyasu says clearly, now I need this knowledge. Right? What is the source of this knowledge? So we say this study of Vedanta is the pramana. In fact, this is the topic we are going to get into, that this person has to next clearly see how this knowledge will arise. Because we say you just sit down and you close your eyes, right? And that cannot lead to knowledge. For the knowledge, there has to be a means of knowledge. A pramana has to be there. And this is actually the topic that follows.
Yeah.
Just as you know the color of an apple by closing your eyes, right? No matter what you do, can you know it through your ears? Can you know colors in the world by touching it? Can you know it through your ear? The right instrument has to be employed in order for the knowledge to arise. And similarly, we say that an instrument of knowledge is required, a means of knowledge is required, and that is what Vedanta is. So this is what we will be discussing in the next classes.
Okay. So this will this gives a pramanam for gaining the Atma Vicharam. That's what you're trying to say. Correct?
Yes, the pramanam itself gives rise to the Atma Jnanam. Pramanam, when you employ the pramanam, for example, when you open your eyes, the color knowledge takes place.
Correct.
So similarly, when you engage in Vedanta Vichara, and Vedanta Vichara is not engaged by self-study. You cannot just study Vedanta. One has to listen to this as taught by somebody who has been exposed to this teaching.
Okay.
Then the very Shravanam of it leads to the Atma Jnanam is what it is.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
Hmm.
So in the beginning you said by sitting in a meditation also will not lead to nowhere. Maybe you can calm your mind, so many things can happen, but the Atma Vicharam will not take place itself. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes, because the ignorance is there, right?
Still there, yeah.
Ignorance can only be destroyed by the rise of Jnanam.
Okay.
So we say meditation has a place. Like we say, this calming down, relative calmness of the mind, and all that is important. So meditation can help gain the preparedness of the mind. And there are certain types of meditations that are definitely recommended in order to gain the preparedness of this mind. They contribute to the Chitta Shuddhi. But we say that cannot lead to the Atma Jnana.
So at what stage then Guru comes to play? Now we are attending this class through you, with the help of you, getting some clarity about the purpose of life, why we are here, what is the purpose, and our purpose goal is to realize the Purnatvam. Those things we are learning from you. Very good. But at what stage of this progress we need the Guru's guidance to take us forward? That's what my third question. Sorry for putting a lot of questions today. Yeah, you understood my third question, no?
Yes. So basically, what we say is that the Guru's guidance, right, is not independent of Vedanta.
Oh.
What the Guru is saying, what the Shrotriya Brahmanishtha Guru is saying, is exactly what Vedanta is saying.
Oh.
And the Guru doesn't say anything different.
Okay.
So the Guru is teaching Vedanta. And what is happening is Vedanta Vichara. When the Vedanta started, what is happening is Vedanta Vichara.
Okay.
That itself is Atma Vichara. So basically, what it means is that one has to continue to do this Shravanam of various texts of Vedanta. And what we are doing here, we are studying the fundamentals of Vedanta, which is giving the background for us to become more qualified in order to enter various texts of Vedanta. But then we will continue the study in the form of texts of Vedanta also subsequently.
So we are in the class of LKG, you were trying to say.
Yeah, as in fact, all of these classes are doing what we are talking about.
Okay. Okay. Very good, sir. I think got the clarity, absolute clarity. We are child still, not the grown-up adult. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So is it similar to like the Guru is playing the role of a catalyst in a reaction, which is, it's not like catalyst is not really participating in the reaction, but it's, it's just helping it happen, activation energy, reach the activation energy faster.
You can put it that way, in the sense that the example that we give is the Guru holds the Shastra like a mirror. So the Guru goes behind the Shastra, you see. The Guru, in our tradition, the Guru does not become like a cult figure, right? who becomes larger than the Shastra. No. So what we say is a guru holds the Shastra mirror in front of the Shishya. So Shishya can see in the words, through the words of the Shastra, who I am. So you need somebody to hold the mirror, because the Shishya, if the Shishya tries to hold the mirror himself, right, that is like doing self-study. We say self-study doesn't work here. Yeah. And that is why the guru is needed the guru holds the key to the Shastra. There is a certain sampradaya that comes here, right? The guru knows how to interpret the words of the Shastra in a manner that is in keeping with the Guru Shishya Parampara. And so the guru provides the meaning of the Shastra as provided by his guru. And that is what enables the Shishya to see himself in the mirror of the Shastra.
Thank you very much, sir. I think it's great, sir. Great, wonderful. Sorry, sir. I'm just completing this one. I think I'm thankful to Venkatraman for making me to participate in this session with you. And it's giving me some great insight. What is the purpose of life, where we need to further go up. And that gives me some sort of clarity, sir. I think we have to learn a lot of things from you. So I'm very happy to be part of this class for going ever, sir. Thank you. Sir, over to you, sir. Mr. Ramachandra, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So we will.
Thank you.
We will conclude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hari.
Next topic will be very interesting.
Yeah. Hari. Yeah.
Hari
Hari.
Thank you.
Hari.
Thank you very much.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.